Mercedes are performing more like a British Christmas pantomime than an elite team in the pinnacle of motorsport. Oh no, they didn't. Oh yes, they did. The Brazilian Grand Prix was very much, oh no, they didn't. Their recent key upgrades were supposed to get them finally set on the right trajectory for the 2024 season. And after the US and Mexico, it seemed like all was coming to fruition, even if Hamilton did get DQ'd in the United States. The new floor they introduced had everyone feeling good. And then came the Brazilian Grand Prix, probably Mercedes' worst showing this season. But as low as Mercedes might be able to sink, are McLaren able to rise just as high? What have they got in store for next season? Stay tuned to find out. Lewis Hamilton's only post-race bright side to the slow death on track was that they'll soon be able to torch the car and spread its ashes at Chernobyl. Now, if you thought Toto Wolff might go out and try to put a positive spin on the situation after Hamilton's damning outlook, keep the sponsors happy and all that, you'd be wrong, with Toto saying, "Whatever we did to it, the car was horrible. I can only feel for the two driving such a miserable thing. The car almost drove like on 3 wheels, not 4. Ouch." So the big question on everyone's mind is, what went so wrong? Again. To be fair, the warning signs were already flashing in the sprint race, where Mercedes dropped from 2nd and 4th to 4th and 7th by the end. A weak rear end meant the cars weren't well balanced for the track. The rear slid as a result, which heavily taxed the tyres. Now, Toto did say the ride height was also probably too high, an over-adjustment after they got DQ'd in the last sprint weekend in Austin. Nevertheless, this was only a part of the problem, and even if Mercedes had been able to identify the other areas in desperate need of change, they wouldn't have been able to make those changes as Parc Fermé rules limited the scope of setup changes. And so Hamilton came in 8th and Russell 15th, and to be honest, Hamilton would have most likely finished outside of the points entirely if it weren't for Daniel Ricciardo and Oscar Piastri being penalised a lap for not finishing a lap under the safety car, instead pitting for repairs. So if we're engaging in a pity party, break out the confetti for those two boys, who are innocent victims of Albon and Hülkenberg messily duking it out at the very start. Or how about Charles Leclerc not DNFing but DNSing? He suffered a mechanical failure in the formation lap and had to retire. He was heard on team radio, "Why the F am I so unlucky? Why the F am I so unlucky?" And honestly, you can't listen to that and not feel for the guy. Well, unless you're these shameless legends who decided to take a moment from, track safety and officiating to take a picture with Charles' broken dreams. Lol. Back to Mercedes, though, there is, of course, going to be more analyses of the team setup and the changes required for them to truly be able to compete against the formidable Red Bull. The YouTube armchair aerodynamicists are already creeping out the woodwork to proclaim their diagnoses, but I'll spare you from all of that because I'm more of a spinny thing makes the car go vroom kind of guy. You do have to wonder, though, are Mercedes asking the right question? Perhaps a better jumping off point would be not why is the Mercedes slow, but why is the Red Bull fast? Anyway, that's enough philosophy for this video. Mercedes to one side. The question of the moment now is, are McLaren the team to challenge Red Bull's dominance? They've shown moments, tantalized and titillated during the season, but Brazil was different, and Lando's confidence can only have grown from his performance and result in Brazil. He was marginally quicker than Max in Q2 of GP qualifying. He got almost within DRS range halfway through the sprint, leaving the others far behind, and on the restart of the Grand Prix, he found himself on the front row, having vaulted from 6th to 2nd thanks to the aforementioned collision. Now, ultimately, Verstappen had Norris contained, but at times only just, with Norris after the race saying, "That's the first time in my F1 career I've actually been in a position to try to pass him, and it sure looks like it won't be the last." Unless, as some fans still think, that Red Bull is sandbagging and still has more to give if necessary. But sandbagging conspiracies aside, it's not just about beating the RB19 on a technical level, it's about beating the man of the moment, Verstappen, and that's an uphill battle. As he showed in Brazil, he's matured. He's not where he is solely because of a great car, but because he's a great driver as well, and he knows it. Christian Horner, said this: Max has become so good at reading a race. He doesn't panic if he sees Lando taking time out of him in the middle sector or whatever, because he's looking at the long game. And I think he's just got that inner confidence that he knows where he is. So what do you think? Can McLaren make the adjustments necessary for Lando Norris to take the fight to Red Bull and Max? Or will Red Bull tease out a few more improvements and blast the competition away once more? Let us know in the comments.